This summer, some 350,000 UPS workers could walk off the job, making it the largest US strike in the 21st century. The last time UPS workers walked off the job was in 1997, when Ron Carey, president of the local 804 Teamsters, led 185,000 UPS Teamsters on strike. The strike would last a mere 15 days before the union was able to declare victory. While the country has not seen a strike of that size ever since, hundreds of thousands of UPS workers who are still represented by the local 804 Teamsters union are gearing up to change that. As with most impending strikes, the heart of the dispute is the UPS contract. The chief executive of UPS, Carol Tomé, argues that the company and the union aren't so far apart in their negotiations for a new 5-year contract. But considering that the workers are getting ready to walk off the job, one should be skeptical of her claims. According to local 804 president, Vinnie Perrone, UPS made a killing, an absolute killing during the coronavirus pandemic, and the workers deserve a piece of the pie. In fact, the company made record profits in 2022. Annual revenue is up 11% on average for each year of the pandemic. The company delivers more than 20 million packages a day in the United States, making it the second largest ground courier after the United States Postal Service. An estimated 6% of the country's gross domestic product moves through UPS. UPS drivers, UPS workers do an incredibly important job. And considering the increase in profits that UPS has been able to enjoy, I definitely agree that they deserve a piece of that pie. But there are other issues at play as well. Despite the company's success, executives at UPS did something that seems counterintuitive, but happens to be a pretty common business practice in an economic climate that places profit maximization over all else. UPS has been laying off and displacing workers, cutting hours and splitting shifts. One worker accustomed to working a straight 8-hour day says that he is now being told to work for 4 hours in the morning and then 4 hours at night, upending his ability to get a good night's sleep, much less do anything else. Other UPS locals report the same problem. Now, contract negotiations began this past April, and the National Master Contract is set to expire on July 31st. What's really going on behind the scenes? How far apart are the employer and the union? And what's at the heart of the dispute? Luckily, here to discuss the dispute and the possibility of hundreds of thousands of UPS workers striking is Sean Orr, who is a UPS package car driver. Orr is also a member of Local 705 in Chicago and the co-chair of the Teamsters for a Democratic Union. Thank you so much for joining us, Sean.
Thank you, Anna, for having me.
Absolutely, it's our pleasure. Really excited to talk to you about this and learn more. So look, something that really stands out to me is the tiered pay system involving so-called 22.4s, which was basically, it was implemented due to the 2018 contract, which was kind of forced upon you. We can get to that later, but tell me what the two-tiered pay system is really about.
Yeah, for sure. So like you said, the 22.4 driver job classification came in 2018. And that is essentially a flexible job position that UPS created. It is a package car driver, so like myself, the people who, the boys in brown, quote unquote, that go out, make deliveries every day. But anyone who has been hired as a package car driver since that last contract was forced through in 2018 has come in as a 22.4 driver. And this means a couple of things. One, it means that they make less pay than their fellow package car drivers who were hired before 2018. 22.4s cap out at about $9 less an hour. They do not have protection from forced overtime, which we call our 9-5 rights as package car drivers. And they can also be forced to work in the building doing split shifts like what you were talking about before bringing me in. So you have people who 1 week are out delivering for 55, 60 hours in all different types of conditions, delivering packages every single day. And then that very next week, they might be told, hey, you know what? Volume is quote unquote light. We have to cut routes, quote unquote. They plead poverty. Well, guess what? Now you have to come in and work from 1 a.m. to 9 a.m. in the warehouse. Do you have kids? Well, guess what? You got to figure out someone else is going to take them to daycare. You got to figure out somebody else is going to be picking them up from school or picking them up from grandparents because you're going to be sleeping, you're going to be working. It totally upends people's lives. And the reason that UPS wanted this and that our union at the time agreed to it, unfortunately, is because the company wants more flexibility. They don't want to be guaranteeing package car drivers their 8-hour guarantee to go out and make deliveries. They don't like having that kind of strict, controlled workplace. That's what we like as workers, right? We like guarantees. The company doesn't like guarantees. The company wants to be able to treat us like Amazon treats its employees, like Uber and Lyft treat their employees, telling them, hey, you're starting at this time, you're ending at this time. It's going to change next week. You do what we tell you to do and you have to accept it. And you have to accept less pay than your coworkers. That's not right.
And I totally agree. I mean, those split shifts absolutely upend people's lives. I mean, they're not able to function as human beings if they have to come in for 4 hours, then they're off for, I don't know, a few more hours, and then they come back for another 4 hours. That's insane. But I think that employers do this kind of stuff intentionally, right? There's a reason why they prefer that two-tiered system, because what it ends up doing is it kind of sows discord and it kind of does away with the solidarity among workers that's really necessary to ensure that they're fighting together on behalf of workers. And I'm curious if you experienced a change in the climate at UPS among workers after that 2018 contract was signed.
I would definitely say so. I think that UPS really sowed its own demise with this contract fight because they were expecting people to just accept less, right? Because that, as a young worker, our whole generation has been raised to expect less and accept less, right? We're not going to have the same standards that our parents had or that our coworkers have who have higher seniority and are close to retirement. We have to accept the fact that conditions are changing, this economy is changing. You know what, you're lucky that you actually just have a full-time job. Most people are juggling multiple part-time gigs just to scrape by. And that's not what happened, right? Young workers like myself, I started as a 22-4 driver. Young workers like myself, we're not willing to accept that. Not only did we come into a situation where we had a militant union, a militant rank and file who fought back against that contract and had it forced on us anyways. We voted that contract down in 2018 and our union leadership at the time decided to sign it anyways. That's why they're not our union leadership anymore.
Okay, let's actually get to that right now because that backstory is so incredible and it's a story of awful leadership, but the rank and file actually fighting back against the awful leadership that led to that awful contract in 2018. So you guys were basically forced into signing that contract because of some arcane rule that James Hoffa decided to use. James Hoffa was the head of the general union. And what went on? Tell us the backstory.
Yeah, so we had James Hoffa Jr. was running our union. He'd been running since 1998, and he had negotiated concessionary contract after concessionary contract at UPS. This isn't a company that can plead poverty. This isn't a company that's about to shutter its doors. This is a company that has year after year continued to grow and continued to dominate the most dominant sector of the US economy. And yet he was signing off on concessionary contract after concessionary contract. And contracts kept on getting passed, but the no vote was getting bigger and bigger and bigger every single contract because people were getting fed up and a rank and file movement was building, led by TDU, which I'm a member of, and others in the reform movement. And in 2018, Hoffa put together a team of negotiators. It was led by Sean O'Brien and Fred Zuckerman. And they were promising, we're going to do things different. We're going to be militant. We're going to negotiate openly and transparently with the membership. That we're not going to have a brownout of information. And what did Hoffa do after they said that? They were fired. They were removed from the negotiating committee. He put in one of his lackeys. It was a total blackout of information. And what came out of the other side was this agreement. They had 22 Ford drivers, they had part-timers still living in poverty, and they had a number of other unacceptable concessions. And we were fed up. And so in 2018, we voted that contract down. And this was a national movement that went against the leadership of our union. Our union was pushing hard for a yes vote. They said that they wanted to, quote unquote, keep UPS competitive. They wanted to, quote, collaborate more with the employer. Well, the membership didn't want that. So we voted that contract down. But like you said, Hoffa used an arcane rule in the IBT, the Teamsters Constitution, and he signed it anyways. And I remember that day so vividly. I was talking to my shop steward on the phone while we were out making deliveries. And we were talking about the fact that we couldn't believe that we just voted this contract down. 10 minutes after the contract vote came out, UPS went and gave a press conference where they said, we respect the vote of the Teamsters membership. This was not our last, best, and final offer. We are ready to return to the table. And then as I was on the phone with my steward, we get the news, Hoffa has said, nope, we have this loophole in the contract. The membership vote doesn't matter. This contract is hereby ratified.
That's so crazy.
When he did that, it was crazy.
I mean, he suffered the consequences, and I give the rank and file union members, the workers, a lot of credit for actually taking action against him for forcing that contract on you all. But I understand that I'm asking you to speculate a little bit here, or maybe you know something that I'm not privy to. What motivated Hoffa's decision to force these contracts on the rank and file workers?
I think that there's a little bit of speculation. I wish I knew Hoffa Jr.'s mind a little bit better, but I think that Hoffa and people like him are folks that genuinely believe that the role of the union is to work well with the companies and to work well with management and to work well with the owners, because they believe that it's their job to keep the doors open, to keep jobs coming in, because they want to keep that membership dues money rolling in so that way they can enjoy their nice paychecks that they have. And he was pretty upfront about that.
Wow.
Hoffa would go out and say, I believe we need to collaborate more with the employers, with the major employers that keep this union afloat. And the membership, the people who worked for those employers, who were harassed every day by those employers, who had their wages stolen by those employers, who were threatened with discipline, with discharge, who were forced to go out and work 14 hours a day in all types of conditions. Those same members who didn't miss a single day of work during the COVID pandemic, right? We were forced to go out there and work. One of Hoffa's last parting gifts during his time was when the pandemic broke out. Instead of fighting for hazard pay for UPS Teamsters, he just agreed to a 10-day paid leave that you could take one time if you got COVID once.
Wow.
Can't tell you how many of my coworkers have gotten COVID more times than that, and yet they have to sit at home without pay because Hoffa agreed to that. And not a single Teamster at UPS got a single penny of hazard pay for the entire duration of the COVID-19 pandemic.
Wow.
Not a single penny. We didn't miss a day of work.
Wow.
And we had to keep working through that, and we didn't get any of that extra bonus, any of that extra money that UPS was raking in off of our backs, because we were the ones that went out there to be the essential heroes that everybody needed, right? And we took pride in that, but we didn't get the benefits of that. The owners of UPS got the benefits of that.
Yeah.
And that's why in this contract campaign, we're here to take something back from them.
I love it, I love it. And I love the new leadership and the militancy in the strategy to fight for better pay, better working conditions. Something that's been striking to me is the comparisons that I've noticed with non-unionized Amazon drivers. We've done a lot of coverage about the terrible abusive conditions that they have to work under, but many of the UPS drivers themselves operate under similar conditions. You do not have vehicles that are air conditioned. You have workloads that are overwhelming, to say the least. And so let's talk a little bit about what the union is fighting for in these negotiations. I want to know exactly what you guys want to change, what you want to secure in this new contract. And also talk a little bit about where you are. I mean, the CEO of UPS claims that you guys aren't that far apart. I don't believe her. I'm curious where you guys are at with the negotiations as well.
Yeah, for sure. So in terms of our demands, we're not asking for anything, any moderate demands here. We have high expectations, and we expect those expectations to be met. We're looking for the two-tier driver pay system to be fully eradicated day one of this new contract. We're looking for a significant raise for part-time Teamsters. Part-timers make up over half of our membership. Most of the people who work in the warehouses, unloading trailers and loading package cars are part-time. In cities all over this country, they're at the minimum wage level. The contractual rate right now is $15.50. That's unacceptable. These are the people that keep this company moving. They deserve a significant pay raise. I don't think we're going to accept much short of $25 in this contract for part-timers. We're looking for an end to subcontracting. We're looking for an end to gig workers doing UPS work, because UPS wants Uber and Lyft drivers to go deliver UPS packages instead of Teamsters that have a full-time job. We're looking for AC in all of our vehicles and in all of our warehouses. We have a whole laundry list of issues, and we expect them to be taken seriously by this company. Now, UPS is saying that that they're working well with us, that they're not far apart, and that's not true at all. That's not true at all. The reason why we have a strike authorization vote right now is because UPS is not taking our demands seriously. Our contract negotiating committee is ready to meet 24/7 around the clock. Our national negotiating committee, our local 705 negotiating committee, all of the negotiating committees are ready to meet, and we're very clear. We are not looking for a contract extension. This contract expires July 31st. August 1st, we either have a new contract that the membership has voted in favor of, a membership that has very high expectations and is very clear with what they want, or we're walking a picket line. It's that simple. UPS continues to stall. They continue to drag out negotiations. They continue to not meet with our negotiators or to answer the demands of the membership. And so we're calling a strike authorization vote. They have to take this seriously. And I believe when they see the results of the strike authorization vote, they're going to know that either they sign off on this contract that the membership wants and we get to vote it up in favor, or they're going to have to figure out what's going to happen with all those packages come August 1st. Because I tell you what, FedEx won't deliver them, Amazon won't deliver them, the post office won't deliver them, and they're going to have to answer to those customers and those companies about why their packages aren't moving anymore.
I love it. Final question for you, because I am curious if what the country experienced with the impending rail workers strike concerns you at all. Now, there are federal laws that allow for Congress to step in and squash rail workers attempting to strike. And unfortunately, the Biden administration Congress acted, and they did exactly that. There aren't similar laws when it comes to UPS, but I wouldn't put it past federal lawmakers to intervene, because we're not talking about a small deal. We're talking about, over 350,000 workers striking. And this would impact virtually every single company and business in the country, because you guys are the ones who are moving their products, right? So I'm curious if there has been any talk about what to do should the government try to intervene in some way.
Well, we have talked about it a little bit, as it's something that comes up all the time with my coworkers in our union. We were all very disappointed with what Biden and the federal government did, forcing those rail workers back to work. Like you said, the laws are different. Obviously, the Railway Labor Act covers them. We are not covered by the Railway Labor Act. We're covered by the NLRA, and so we have the right to strike. I believe that we expect things to happen very similarly if a strike happens to what happened in 1997, where Clinton was asked to step in and to try to intervene, try to hold negotiations, try to pull things together, try to call off the strike, pass something through Congress. Clinton happened to not listen to that, and that's what helped us to win our strike in 1997. If we have to strike in August, on August 1st, if UPS forces us to strike, I hope that Biden and Congress do the same and stand with us. I think that, like you said, this isn't a small company. We make this country move. UPS is an incredibly significant company. And I think that when our government talks about trying to do right by working people, trying to do right by the people, the quote unquote essential workers and the heroes that got people through the COVID-19 pandemic. For most people in this country, the face of that is a UPS driver. UPS drivers who are wearing masks, going and delivering the vaccines to hospitals, delivering their essential goods to them, keeping them happy, keeping people healthy, keeping people safe, right? I think that there will be a reckoning if the government tries to intervene in our contract fight, not simply because us 350,000 Teamsters are not going to take this lying down. We're here to win, we're here to take. This is not a question of trade-offs. It's not a question of a half deal. We're looking for a full deal from UPS. And I think that everybody in this country, the public, are going to stand behind us in getting that to happen.
Sean, inspiring words, solidarity with the Teamsters, all the power to you. And I hope that you will come back on the show and give us updates on everything that's happening, the negotiations, where you guys stand on everything. Seriously, we're all rooting for you. And I hope you guys get what you deserve. You guys really do an incredibly important job. So thank you again.
Thanks, sister, appreciate it, and solidarity.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR, so those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.